This is News Bits on Fuxion TV. Here are the headlines. First Rwandan genocide trial begins in France. Wave of violence continues in central Nigeria. Democratic Alliance Gang party merger collapses in South Africa. Mandela leaves $4 million estate to family, staff, ANC, and others. Libya destroys all chemical weapons. These and more when we return. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a minute. Hello and thanks for joining us on this edition of News Bits this week on Fuxion TV. I'm Nikki Roberts. A court in France has opened the first trial linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide. A former Rwandan army officer, former intelligence chief Pascal Semikangwa, is accused of supplying weapons and instructions to Hutu radicals during attacks that killed an estimated 800,000 people. This arraignment is a result of years of efforts in France, despite claims by some activist groups and critics who say French officials turned a blind eye to the slaughter, helped some perpetrators to flee Rwanda, and let untold numbers of Rwandans with ties to the genocide live in France for years unpunished. 54-year-old Semikangwa, who is confined to a wheelchair due to an auto accident in the 80s, could face life in prison if convicted. He has pleaded not guilty to charges of complicity in genocide and crimes against humanity. Semikangwa fled Rwanda after the genocide and was tracked down on the French island of Mayotte in 2008. He denies the charges and his lawyers are seeking an acquittal. The surge of religious and ethnic violence continues to devastate many communities in Nigeria's central region despite the claim by the military that they have it under control. Local leaders in the region have said that the government needs to arrest and prosecute attackers or the violence will escalate. Ephraim Goje, the president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union, reportedly said more than 1,000 of those deaths were in his area, and recent attacks have been particularly brutal. According to Human Rights Watch, 3,000 people have been killed in sectarian violence since 2010 in Kaduna and Plateau, both Middle Belt states, where the mostly Christian South meets the mostly Muslim North. Almost no one has been prosecuted. Boko Haram, an Islamist insurgent group, is mostly responsible for most of the violence in the region. The agreement last week to merge South Africa's main opposition Democratic Alliance, DA, with Mamphela Ramphele's A-Gang party has collapsed. The DA announced Sunday that Ms. Ramphele had reneged on their agreement, stating that she cannot be trusted. Ms. Ramphele had been named as DA's presidential candidate for this year's elections in South Africa. Helen Zille, DA leader, denies allegations that the decision was rushed, stating that this was a genuinely good faith attempt to realign politics and bring opposition parties together. DA supporters were hopeful that the deal would have helped the party tap into voter dissatisfaction with President Jacob Zuma and the ANC, under fire over corruption scandals and high poverty levels. Zille admitted that race had been a factor in the coalition deal, but only in combination with Ramphele's international reputation as an academic and a manager, as well as impeccable struggle record. It would have been the first time the DA would present a black presidential candidate. Nigeria's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has joined the main opposition party, All Progressives Congress, APC, leaving the troubled ruling party, People's Democratic Party, PDP. In a press statement in Abuja recently, he described the PDP as bereft of ideas and refusing to live up to the promises it made in the past. Following this development, a spokesman for the People's Democratic Party, Abdullahi Jallo, has appealed to former Vice President Abubakar Atiku to return to the ruling party, and he denies claims that the PDP is in a crisis following high-profile defections that include influential governors and legislators. Atiku denies suggestions of presidential aspirations and encouraged his political associates and friends to register and join the APC once the registration exercise commences, asserting that together they can change Nigeria for the better. South Africa's former president, Nelson Mandela, left an estate provisionally valued at 46 million rand. The anti-apartheid hero's will was read to his family members Monday. At a news conference, Deputy Constitutional Court Head Dikang Moseneke, one of the will's executors, summarized parts of Mandela's will. He stated that the will is a 40-page document in which the late Mandela expresses why he makes virtually every bequest. Moseneke said he was not aware of any legal challenges to the will. Speaking at the Nelson Mandela Foundation in Johannesburg, Mr. Moseneke said the 46 million rand was based on rough and ready estimates, and the final amount could be very different. Others to benefit from the estate includes the governing ANC, personal staff, and several schools. The former president left behind an estate that includes Choice House in Johannesburg, a modest dwelling in his rural Eastern Cape home province, and royalties from book sales, including his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom. Mohamed Abdulaziz, Libya's foreign minister, announced Tuesday that chemical weapons in the country had been destroyed, including bombs and artillery shells filled with mustard gas. Libya has become totally free of usable chemical weapons that might present a potential threat to the security of local communities, the environment, and neighboring areas, said Mr. Abdulaziz. He added that this would not have been possible in such a short time without international support, including technical assistance from Canada, Germany, and the US. In 2004, by signing the United Nations Chemical Weapons Convention, CWC, Libya committed itself to getting rid of all chemical arms. Mr. Abdulaziz was speaking at a joint news conference with Ahmet Uzumsu, the Director General of the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, who described the operation as a significant milestone. The Islamic Organization for Latin America and the Caribbean, OIPOL-C, will host its 9th conference on February 9th in Georgetown, Guyana, in association with the Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, CIOG, and the Islamic Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, ISESCO. The organization was formed about 15 years ago in order to promote awareness for the needs of Muslims in South America and the Caribbean. Guyana has a Muslim population of about 12% and is a member of the OIC. ISESCO, which is headquartered in Rabat, Morocco, was founded by the OIC in 1979 with the objective of promoting and consolidating cooperation with member nations in the fields of education, science, and culture. Among the dignitaries that will attend the conference is ISESCO Director General Dr. Abdulaziz Othman Al-Tualjiri, who said the upcoming visit and the meeting in Guyana are part of ISESCO's sustained effort to assist Muslim minority communities in preserving their cultural identity and helping them to fully integrate into their society and most effectively contribute to its development. In addition, officials from the Islamic Development Bank, ISDB, the Islamic Solidarity Fund, are expected in Guyana for the meeting. Haiti and the Dominican Republic are to join National High-Level Commission's talks held on Monday in the Dominican town of Jimani, committed to submit a new legislation to address the status of undocumented individuals born in Dominican territory, among other agreements. The series of high-level bilateral discussions was launched end of last year by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Gustavo Montalvo, who led the delegation from Dominican Republic, confirmed his government's commitment to passing a new legislation to resolve the case of thousands of Dominicans of Haitian descent who have been stripped of their citizenship. A joint declaration signed at the end of the Jimani session states both countries were particularly pleased to have, for the first time, reached an agreement to allow the coordination and exchange of information between the customs authorities and the interconnection of the Saiga-Sidonia systems. And now to sports. Cape Verde have lost their appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, over a FIFA ruling resulting in their expulsion from the World Cup qualifying competition. Cape Verde, who beat Tunisia 2-0 to finish top of African Group B, forfeited the match after FIFA ruled central forward Fernando Varela was ineligible to play. Tunisia was subsequently awarded a 3-0 win, which put them on top of the group and into the playoff round in Cape Verde's place. Court of Arbitration for Sport said Cape Verde's appeal was unfounded. Cape Verde appealed to FIFA, but its governing body upheld its decision. The Mediterranean Knights of Libya have been crowned 2014 Orange African Nations champions. They beat favorites Ghana 4-3 in a penalty shootout after the match ended 0-0 after extra time in the final, played last Saturday in Cape Town. This was sweet victory for Libya, who got their revenge after losing 7-6 in penalties to Ghana 32 years ago in the AFCON final. The final match of CHAN 2014 was played in Cape Town with CAF President Issa Hayatou and FIFA President Sepp Blatter in attendance. It was a lively and competitive match from the first whistle to the last. Congratulations to the Mediterranean Knights of Libya. Former England captain David Beckham has revealed plans for a new Miami-based Major League Soccer franchise. The 38-year-old, who retired as a player last May, said a world-class stadium would be built to host the club, which would be the 22nd in the MLS. The former midfielder, who played for Manchester United, Real Madrid, AC Milan, and Paris Saint-Germain, also played for LA Galaxy between 2007 and 2012. Beckham said, "This is an exciting time for myself, my family, my friends, and partners, and it is something we are really looking forward to bringing to Miami." We'll take a quick second to connect with us on Facebook, Fuxion TV ATL, and on Twitter at Fuxion TV ATL. Keep those comments coming. Well, that's all the news we have this week on Fuxion TV's News Bits. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, stay safe.